Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, and happy Friday to all of you that are joining me. Seeing a lot of familiar names and little faces down in the comments, which is fantastic. We've got Tina and Robert checking in. Lisa is here. Heather. Maria is in Moscow, which is exciting, and I can't imagine what time it is for you, Maria. It might be the middle of the night, maybe. We've got Gail checking in as well from sunny Massachusetts, which is great. So glad you could stop by, Gail. Mary is here, Maggie, Dina, Kat, Celeste. So many friends here today, which is great. Devin, Catherine, and Jason. It's an excellent looking crew today, so thanks for joining me. I want to start off actually with a few familiar names and faces. I want to share some art that I've seen in the schoolyard this week that has caught my eye, and I also want to share some art from the workshop this past weekend that you all made. But to start off, I wanted to share this project Jason's been doing, who is in the audience right now, who's been making these little mini sketchbooks based on one of our Draw Tip Tuesday videos from recently, and he's been mailing them to family members, to nieces and nephews. And I love the idea of making something small and dropping it in the mail for someone as a fun little surprise. So Jason, thank you for sharing that. I love how those turned out. Another student, Rock, has been working on this really cool series of digital drawings, and I'm going to make this bigger because there's so much going on. But he's been doing these drawings talking about sort of, litter in the ocean and kind of how plastics are becoming a huge issue. But he's doing these really powerful iPad drawings featuring marine life and some of the problems that we need to work on in terms of waste and plastic. But Rock has a really cool series going, and I just love seeing how it's been evolving. Another student, I think this personally touched me a lot. This last month, a student named Libby actually lost her husband, and she did this beautiful drawing with a little Dr. Seuss quote. And this past week for me was kind of rough. A few friends also faced certain losses in their life, and I happened to see this drawing in the schoolyard kind of right at the moment where I think I needed to see it. And I know Libby obviously suffered a great loss, and we're sending her hugs and all the good vibes, and I just love that she shared this very simple but very sweet drawing with us in honor of her husband. So Libby, thank you for sharing that. And then I want to move on to some of the artwork that you guys made in the Onmar workshop this past weekend. And it's looking like Maria is saying good evening, so it must be nighttime there. But some art from the workshop. Kat did this amazing drawing where she actually did some mixed media and layering with some photocopied art or photocopied images, and then she drew and painted over top of them. And I love how this mixed media piece turned out. It looked really different and unique, in the sea of fruits and vegetables that we saw. And then another student from the workshop, Lisa, she tackled this bag of red lentils, which I love that Lisa was able to kind of let go of that need to draw every noodle and every detail. And I know that that's something that I struggled with, and something that students worked on with Onmar. And I love how Lisa tackled this pasta from Trader Joe's, which also looks pretty yummy. And then Sabrina did a ton of drawings during Onmar's workshop, and I'm going to make this bigger because she added some beautiful lettering. And I just love that Sabrina was able to fit so much onto the page during Onmar's workshop. And she added some really beautiful hand lettering. And I just think it turned out to be a really cool, almost illustration-looking drawing of a bunch of food items. Kathy also joined us for the workshop, and she also tackled the problem of not drawing every single little detail and kind of letting go of the need to do that with her mason jar full of what looks like to be Cheerios. Sorry if that's not what that was, Kathy, but I love how this turned out. And I also love the color that you achieved with your watercolor here. That jar of salsa, the green salsa, just looks like it wants to leap right off the page. So Kathy did an awesome job with color here in that painting. And then, yeah, it does. John is mentioning that it looks like a Danny Gregory spread, the one of Sabrina's with all the lettering. It definitely kind of looks like his writing. Karen did this beautiful drawing, and the reason this jumped out at me is because I've been cooking with celery lately, and it's kind of in my opinion, sort of the understated, forgotten vegetable. But there's a lot you can do with celery, and I saw Karen's celery drawing, and I just thought, it kind of jumped out at me, and I really enjoyed it. Diane also did some food items, as did everyone in Onmar's workshop, but I love the way that she kind of added some shadow here, and she really achieved a nice amount of depth on her page with these different items. Some are packages, some are little organic spices, and I just liked how all these objects looked together on the page, and how she kind of had a lightness to it and didn't get too caught up in outlines and details, but really relied on her color here to kind of add value and depth. So Diane, I thought that was a beautiful drawing. Thank you for sharing that. And we also have another workshop coming up in a few weeks with France Van Stone. So for those of you that didn't join us for Onmar's workshop, if you are interested in cross-hatching and getting better at portraits, check out our website right now for that. And I can't wait to share art that you guys make in that workshop. But now I want us to do just a little drawing together. And today I actually have an image for all of you. And you don't have to work from this image if you don't want to, but I'm going to be drawing it because it's relevant. So for today, my husband and I actually woke up this morning to find that we had caught a groundhog in a humane trap that we had set. I'm an avid gardener, and I am very protective of my vegetables. And this groundhog has been causing some trouble. So we actually woke up this morning to find that this little friend, not this particular groundhog, but a groundhog had made its way into our live trap. And it's illegal to move them, but we took it to a more fun location at a wooded park, kind of far away from our house. And I know you're not supposed to do that, so shh, don't tell anyone. But I really wanted to protect my vegetables. So I thought this would be a good subject for today's drawing focus. For me personally, I was admiring kind of how cute and weird groundhogs are. They've got the big gnarly teeth and the little human-like hands, little claws. And I thought it would make a good drawing subject for today. So you don't have to draw this groundhog. You can draw another pest in your life, whether you're dealing with ants because it's nicer out, or if you have a housemate that you're living with in quarantine who's being a pest. I'm just kidding. Yes, Nancy said, hope it wasn't a nursing mama. We have not seen babies, and we found where it lived under our shed. So no evidence of small groundhogs. Fingers crossed they're not hiding somewhere else. But we will be focusing on this little critter, and you can draw any pest or any woodland creature that you want right now. But I'm going to focus on the groundhog, and I'm actually going to put up a little timer right now, getting fancy with the timer that I will start. And we'll actually draw for 5 minutes, so you can draw with whatever you have on hand. I'm going to be using a Tombow marker, and I'm going to try to capture this little guy in kind of a cartoon-like quality. So this is what I'm going to work on, but I want you to draw whatever is moving you today or striking you. I am going to focus on this little guy. So I'm going to start the timer. It looks like Jennifer also is dealing with some pests in her garden, rabbit or turkeys even, which is kind of exciting to have turkeys in your backyard. Not something I see here, but I'm going to focus on this groundhog. So I hope that you will join me in kicking off your Friday or winding down your Friday with a drawing. And for me, I'm going to focus on this little critter. And yes, Heather's saying that I got fancy. I know. Danny knows all the tools and tricks and secrets to using these online streaming platforms. So he gave me that pro tip of using a timer. And all I need to do now is figure out the fancy Charlie Brown countdown music that he plays, because I have not yet figured that out. But at any rate, I was just really fascinated by how funny-looking groundhogs are. I have a friend that refers to them as furry footstools, which I kind of like as a descriptor. I think it's pretty appropriate given how round and obviously furry that they are. But yeah, and then they've got these gnarly teeth that do a lot of damage, eat a lot of plants. And I was just starting with seedlings this season, and all I could think about was the fact that this little groundhog was going to make a salad out of all my lettuce and kale babies that are just getting started. So I wanted to avoid that. But I didn't realize that turkeys ate out of gardens. But as I look out the window, I see our chickens picking through the grass, so it totally makes sense that they would be foragers. But never would have thought about dealing with turkeys in the garden. So that is a fascinating problem to have. But at any rate, I hope this groundhog lives a long and happy life at a nature preserve, eating plenty of native species and plants and not disturbing anyone's garden. So we'll see. I'm not sure. She might come back. She might find her way back to us. And I will just have to get a better fence in that case. But yeah, they're just really funky looking creatures. And those little claws and little hands are just really interesting to me. They kind of remind me more of a raccoon. But yeah, the hands, the teeth, and then the little fat, plump bodies. They're really cute, despite how destructive they can be. But like I said, I'm wishing this cousin of Puxatawny Phil a very happy life. Just hopefully not in our garden, snacking on our food. But who knows? And my drawing is this guy looks more like a gopher, but that's okay. For me, this is my first drawing of the day, so I'm just kind of getting warmed up and, taking a break from staring at screens, even though I'm kind of staring at a screen with you all right now. Looks like Jennifer is saying the turkeys are looking for seeds and grubs. That makes total sense. They're probably doing some digging. Not the best for your lawn, I'm sure. And I bet Danny does not have a problem with turkeys and groundhogs in Arizona. He probably has other issues. But it's definitely something that we deal with here in the Midwest, for sure. And I'm actually not even able to get all this down in this short amount of time. Usually I do just a drawing prompt where you can kind of draw from your imagination or draw anything you want. But now that we have an image, it's kind of like the pressure's on. I'm trying to get it all down. So hopefully you're faring better than I am with the timing, because I am not going to finish this in 5 minutes. But almost got everything down. And I can go back later. Hopefully you'll go back later and fill in the details with whatever you ended up choosing as your subject. For me, it's this little guy. And I'll probably finish it up later. Add some color maybe. I'm working in a brush pen, so it's a nice thick bold line. But depending on what you're using, you might want to add color or just let it go. Just let it go as a drawing on its own. And it looks like, okay, last of the toes I'm working on right now. And I think our timer is about to be up. I kind of flattened this guy. He doesn't have as much volume in my drawing as he does in the photograph. But at any rate, kind of looks like groundhog. And that was our timer. My groundhog's a little rough. but it looks like someone just squished his head a little bit, so sorry about that to Mr. Groundhog, but that was a good way for me to loosen up and kind of start the day off. I'm curious to see if anyone tackled the groundhog or if you chose to depict another pest or another critter from your yard, perhaps. I'm curious if Jennifer drew a turkey. I would love to see that. So if you did any drawings with me today, definitely share them in the SkoolYard. You can use the Student Bulletin topic, and I would love to see what you made. And in terms of drawing parties and events, next week we're going to have our normal schedule. So you'll see Kosha on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then you'll see Danny on Tuesday and Thursday. We also had a sketchbook happy hour last night, which was really fun. We had a Zoom call where everyone brought their sketchbooks and kind of worked on their own art for an hour while we listened to music together. So we'll be adding a few more of those to the calendar. If you're into Zoom calls, check the events tab in the SkoolYard for that, because that was a lot of fun. Sounds like Jennifer is working on the turkey, which I cannot wait to see. But I hope everyone has an awesome Friday. I hope your gardens are free of critters, and I hope that you have a great weekend. And I'll see you right back here next week, and hopefully at all of our other drawing parties and events. So stay safe and healthy, and have a great rest of your day. Bye!